Okay, so going back to some of the history from your mom's side now, your grandmother was Maddie Sullivan,
Mm-hmm.
and she had a sister that lived with her, and that's in the census as well, uh, Lutisha,
Look.
and
Mm-hmm.
you called her Aunt Lou,
Uh-huh. I thought it was Lou Etris. Um. Anyway.
and she was closer to your mom's age, as I recall. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
let's okay. So, she lived with her, but she was kind of a staunch for rules and regulations too.
Mm-hmm.
As we know, your mom had Dorothy at about what 14.
Six. I think she was 15 or
She was
16.
15 or 16. Okay, and we're gonna have to go back and get the gist on that.
I
On the dad, you said he did contribute.
I heard he did.
You heard he did that he contributed. He would send money, and Dorothy's father, again, we're gonna have to revisit that because her brother is apparently what's his name? He was
Did,
William Williams. He he was in Being Mary Jane. He was her mom's love interest. It wasn't Gregory, was it? I know he played football. Man, I
I
gotta go
can't
back and
think
get
of
that.
his name.
Anyway, let's get some more in. So, your mom's dad,
My mom's dad was Marcellus Golson.
Marcellus Goldson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Marcellus had other kids.
Marcellus after yeah, mom had a sister that lived uh, another sister out of wedlock. My mom was out of wedlock.
Mm-hmm.
With, that was Mattie Sullivan's oldest daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom had another sister
By
that
her dad,
yeah, yeah, and
which is Aaron. Do you know Aaron's last name?
Erin
Aaron.
Erin Golson.
Aaron Goldson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who was the
ML, her name was Marcellus too. ML, I'm talking about this other sister, Marcellus. We call it.
You called her ML, but her name was
ML.
Marcellus. Okay, and then
And and some of the sisters I didn't know. Some of his some of his children I didn't know. But Adam Golson was her brother by Marcellus Golson.
okay, who was the other sister that you went to California with?
Oh, Henrietta.
Okay, Henrietta. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Henrietta. So you went to California with her to see about her son when he was sick.
To see about
And
her son.
you guys had really started spending good time together.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. I really enjoyed her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so that's some of the sibling side. And let's see. Now, what else do you recall that we may not have discussed already on as far as that part?
Um, I know some's going to come back to me eventually.
And eventually we'll talk about some incidents that you recall growing up.
Yeah.
And then I'll get you to talk about the history of the Pendleton side, as you knew, because that was your first marriage.
Yeah.
And so, well, I got a little bit more time here. So, on the Pendleton side, and this is, you were married to my dad,
Yeah.
Grady Pendleton. His dad was Grady Pendleton Sr., and his mom was Annie Pendleton, Big Mama. And they had, Daddy was the oldest, Grady. Then they had Uncle Mookie, which James Pendleton. And then there was Willie Lee, uh, Annie Lee, Lonnie, Larry, Jean, Dorothy Pendleton. So those were my aunts and uncles from my dad's side, and grandpa, and they stayed on Fields Road growing up. That's one of the houses I
And they
remember.
were from Walls, Mississippi.
And they were from Walls, Mississippi. That's where Daddy is buried, down in Walls, Mississippi. He married later to Hattie.
Had a head.
Hattie Head, and they had a daughter together, Yolanda. And he also he didn't marry, but there was another daughter, Loretta.
And it was another daughter.
Yeah, you said it was
By one
another
of the
daughter
Stuckeys,
by one of the Stuckeys, and that's interesting because I've never really. I guess sometimes when
know
people
her.
go out and do what they, it just never comes up. But it's so enlightening watching all these judge shows
Yeah.
and how people come back and they want to know their history. And
Yeah.
you have to look at it. They deserve a right.
That's
Because
right.
just because someone did something that they shouldn't have been doing,
Right.
it happened. It's just like gravity. If it go up, it's gonna do what? Come down.
Come down.
So when you go in that door and you activate God's law of reproduction and it happens, that's not the child's fault. The child still deserves the right to know who their biological parents are. And at
their
that point, and their siblings. And at that point in life, whether you want to deal with it or not is your decision, because it's not always prudent to even deal with them, just
That's
depending
right.
on where they are. But
That's
it's good
right.
to know,
It's good
because
to know. And I
sometimes
tried to
people
get
change
him.
in life.
I tried to.
Yeah, sometimes people change in life. So it's good to know those things. But that's one apparently I'm not familiar with. Maybe in the by and by or somewhere it'll come
Yeah.
out. But the truth is what? The light, right? So, we have those situations. So, and it's really interesting too. We talk a lot about how things have been done to us as a race and what happened even growing up from way back when, how people were treated differently within the family, even just because of their skin color.
Yes.
We were at a client's house recently and we noticed this beautiful, beautiful, very vibrant painting of this one room schoolhouse that was way back in probably 1800s or whenever. And one thing we noticed is that and the client pointed it out, the children were all dark skinned, but you noticed that the teacher was light skinned.
Yes.
And though that's some of the things
Yes.
that were done. Remember, we were looking at I was trying to look up the history of Walker Homes, and Joseph Walker was the person that built that. He was mighty. I mean, he did a whole lot in the city. I read he had an unfortunate death being killed by one of the attorneys that was working with him. He couldn't pay his loan, and he ended up killing Joseph T. Walker. But the Universal Life Insurance Company,
Oh yeah.
yeah, they used to hire all kind of light-skinned girls.
Yes.
And so, it's just amazing how things tend to continue to perpetuate. And you yourself said that I'm not going to necessarily call a name, but you had an aunt, when you guys would come to visit, she said, here come those old black things, old black things. And, you have to wonder, how does that make a child feel?
Yes.
And you had another aunt who you, Aunt Cody, you really admired her because she dressed so nice. And she came and you said what? Hey, Aunt Cody. And she said, I wasn't talking to you. She snapped on you. And we have to think about
My sister was lighter skinned than I was.
we have to think about the impact that we have on these young kids. Kids are not born racist.
They're not.
Kids are
They're not.
born to
Sweet
make a
as they
difference
can be.
between you based on your color. They're taught that. So
That's
we
right.
have to be careful how we move forward with those types of things, because it can be impressionable throughout the life. Okay, so we're gonna share that for now. We're gonna try to upload these videos and kind of get some history going here, and eventually get all this logged into Ancestry.com so everybody can take a look at it. As you get older, you start to have more curiosity about, well, what did I come from, and what happened then and before. Before, a lot of times, you're carefree and going about your life, but you have those questions, and it's good when we have somebody who can share that with us. Until
Yeah.
next time, thank you, Mother.
You're so welcome.